Welcome to the Blood Angels Commander channel.
Hey, good evening guys. Hello. You zoom this camera out a little bit. How's everybody this evening? Hope you're well. Hope you're well. Thanks for being here. I think I'm doing some red models. I need a change. I've been doing Death Company and Sanguine Guard for like whatever feels like the longest time. The longest time. So, I'm gonna do a little bit of work on some red models for a change tonight, I think. Let me know what you're painting, if you are planning on painting tonight. I need to buy some new brushes. I've been saying that for a few weeks. Maybe on payday I'll order myself some new brushes. Hello Riziel, hello Highland Phoenix, Podger, Zach Horse, who else is in the house? James Gibb, Nathan Picking, Magnus. Good evening everybody. How's everybody doing? Hope you're having a good Saturday. My Saturday's been pretty good. Oh, let me see if I can get this camera pointing a little bit better. But yeah, it's been, I can't believe it's 5 weeks till Christmas. Honestly, this year has flown past. I'm thinking, yeah, I think I'll buy a couple more of these Element Game character brushes on payday, because I really like them. I think I'm going to buy a box of Death Company. I know it's probably dumb, considering how many Death Company models I have, but I think I want more Death Company shoulder pads. I think I'm going to make some Death Company intercessors. I'm kind of just thinking that I might not put the backpacks on them, honestly. In case, I mean this is a big in case, I was going to say in case we actually do get Death Company intercessors with the ability to get jump packs soon. So I mean, I guess I'd paint the majority of the models but just leave them backpackless, or I'll blue tack on the backpacks or something like that. These assault intercessors are like the push fit ones from Indomitus, so I'll probably just push fit the backpacks on, and then if we do get jump ones I can just pull them off. What's up Kevin, good evening. We can never have too many Death Company, says Highland Phoenix. Yeah, I mean that's true as well, isn't it? That's so true. I have so many though, Highland Phoenix. I just have so many with really bad weapon options, that's my problem. Like I got loads with like, they're like second edition models. They're old metal models for one, so they're not really enjoyable to paint or whatever, those old metal models. But the old metal ones that I've got so many with like, I've got a bunch with power fists, I've got a bunch with like power axes, I've got a bunch with hand flamers. I don't think I've used a hand flamer once in since probably, I can't even remember, like, I don't think I've used a hand flamer once since I came back to the hobby. So like, I just don't see strength 3 as a good option, I guess, ever. But I've built a new list. I mean, I kind of hinted that I was going to be building a new list. And I've basically got like 3 videos filmed for the channel already, so like I need to edit them all. A bunch of the videos have come out like with like the learnings that I took from like this GT last week, I think. So yeah, I've got like 3 videos filmed. I haven't done any video editing on them, so my plan this week is to try and do a bunch of video editing. And one of the videos I'm going to be going over is like my new list. And I like building lists, so I'm going to build a new tournament list, but I'm not just going to go 3 Death Company and 3 Sangard. You guys know me, I've talked about it. I get that's probably the most viable build, but I just don't want to run it. I don't like feeling like there's one viable build and that I have to play it. Maybe I'm being too stubborn for my own good, but that's how I feel. And I have 15 and it definitely doesn't seem like enough. I think I probably have like maybe 35 Death Company now, but like 10 of them just have crappy weapon options. But you know, I'll just paint them eventually. So I'll make these new 5 with good weapon options, and I'll eventually get round to paint, like, because I've got like 15 unpainted ones, but the unpainted ones all have really crappy weapon options, like I said, power fists and hand flamers, things that literally never see the light of day. You could start cutting them off at the wrists. I just hate, like, I don't mind if I magnetize them when I'm building them, but I just hate like finished models going back and like destroying them. I think it's because it takes me so long to finish stuff. I'm just really reluctant to ever go back. I was reluctant to ever go back and mess with finished models before I had the YouTube channel, and now the YouTube channel takes up like over half of my hobby time, which like means my hobby time is always really limited. So yeah, just not gonna mess. I've got like 5 Death Company on my table here, just out of camera. I've got like another 5 that are in progress. So I mean, I've got heaps that I'm working on, I guess. It's fine. I think I'm gonna do a little bit of gold. What do I normally? Yeah, you normally do their chest emblems in gold. Okay. Evening, Campbell. Evening, Mike. How you doing? Let me know what you guys are working on hobby-wise tonight. I quite enjoyed playing the Lord of War detachment, Highland Phoenix. It was quite a good experience, actually. I think. It really makes you consider how little OBSEC we get. Like the counts as 5 Knights OBSEC was just such a nice tool to have. I just felt like it was one of the first times I've ever felt like I actually had like a really, really, really strong OBSEC force, which was really nice, I guess. Nothing bad about having a lot of OBSEC in your list for a change, right? I'd play that Knight list again, though. The thing, honestly, the thing that probably bothers me the most about that list was like the fact that Dante has no protection against mortal wounds, and it feels like I think 2 or 3 of the times Dante died, it was to like, it was, I don't know, it just feels like I think one time he took like 6. I think one time a fire raptor exploded next to him and did like 5 mortal wounds. I mean, that's not ideal for a character that's got no protection against mortals, right? And one of the times I think he just got killed by like a smite and another psychic power from full health, and like, you know, if he gets killed in the psychic phase then you can't fight back, which is kind of bullshit. I don't often use fight on death, but like it used to be. Oh, I'm gonna have to be back in just 1 second. My daughter's awake. Afternoon, Zachary. Kevin's putting up Xmas lights outside. It's not December yet, Kevin. You're jumping the gun here. God, I hate how they make it like already in the shops here. It's, you know, like we're over a month from Christmas and it's like it's crazy into Christmas already. I feel like it gets earlier and earlier every year. think my rule will be we don't put Christmas lights up till the 1st. It has to be December for us to be getting excited about Christmas. Don't knock Helverins till you try them. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could try Helverins. The thing about Helverins is I don't think they're very good against Armour of Contempt units. I didn't end up fighting that much Armour of Contempt stuff at this event, but I guess it's just something to be aware of. If you are going to run Helverins, I mean, Armour of Contempt means most of their firepower is just -1, so I mean, I guess if you're fine with that, go for Helverins. But these Inquisitors, I've been using these in battles now for probably the best part of like 2 years, and I sort of painted them to like a, what would I call this, like a battle ready, but they were never finished, so I thought I'd take a break from painting constantly painting Death Company and Sandguard, it feels like, to do some actual red models. I thought I might do my heavy intercessors as well. But yeah, my next list is 100% Blood Angels. There's no funky detachments, there's no super heavy tank. I still like the super, I actually kind of like the super heavy tank list. I think the Astraeus is a good unit. I think it pairs, if you're going to do a Tech Marine, I think it pairs with a Tech Marine for Blood Angels pretty well. I'd honestly run an Astraeus to a tournament again. There's only a few armies that are really going to cause it problems. The main problem it has is it's hard to score, right? Because like, you get 600 of your points tied up in one unit. I guess it's arguably 700 if you've got the Tech Marine there as well. There's a new demigod. I think he'll be any good. I saw that there was a new there was some sort of new chaos thing today. They didn't put out any rules for it, right? So they just said like this is a new chaos thing that is coming, and it looked kind of weird. And I just skimmed the article honestly today because I was hoping. I mean, the only thing I was hoping for was a Blood Angels release, right? And when it wasn't a Blood Angels release, I just skimmed it. I was gonna say in disgust. It wasn't really in disgust. James says Helverins work well into Votann. Do they? Votann are basically. I thought Votann's Armour of Contempt was basically even better than Armour of Contempt, right? Like Void Armour. So does that not take away even more of their, like, because they have a household tradition that lets you reroll some of your wound rolls or something like that. I guess you don't even get to do that if you fight Votann, though, right? If Helverins weren't good into Armour of Contempt, they wouldn't regularly be ranked S tier for knights. I mean, they're not good into Armour of Contempt. Well, I mean, like, I guess it depends on how you look at Armour of Contempt. If you look at, like, Sangre Guard, then I would say Helverins are pretty bad against Sangre Guard. And I guess it depends on cover as well. If you got Sangguard in cover against Helverins, you're just saving on 2s. Like, you can make those all day sometimes. I think when I fought Gav's Knight list, I think the melee Armigers did a lot more work against me than any of the Helverins did. I mean, the Helverins do like chip damage to the Whirlwind or something, but I mean, I'm not overly worried about that, right? Evening, DTM. The next list that features on the channel needs to feature a Gladiator. I think I'm going to run a Gladiator just for Highland Phoenix. I still don't think it's a good choice. But I mean, I guess I'll run it one time. And I think I'll run the Reaper version of it. Because that's what people want to see. I mean, like I said, I don't think it's a very good choice. I think it's overcosted still. I feel like it's going to be super underwhelming, but I mean, I can run it one time. I'm working on Inquisitors tonight. This is just like a 5-man squad. I usually always, for the last like year, I've been running 2 squads of Inquisitors in all my battle reports. Most recently, I've just been running 1 squad just because points, really. So I had another squad that were basically just sitting on my table, and I knew they weren't finished. And I thought to myself, like, let's just give these guys a little bit of love. There's a lot of stuff that I've got half finished, and I would like to get finished, and these are one of the squads that are on the like, these guys really should be finished. It's embarrassing how long they've had them not finished for, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I probably plan on buying some armigers at some point. I just don't think I'm going to rush out and do it. The nicest thing about it was the obsec, honestly. Counts as 5 obsec, and when you already have a decent amount of obsec in your list, yeah, it just actually felt really good. Like, it just felt like I had so much obsec for a change. I think armigers probably actually should get a little bit of a balance change. Like, I would change how they work. I wouldn't make it so when they're on 1 wound they still count as 5 obsec. Any 1 is 3 damage. Yeah, I mean, any 1 is a failed is a dead Sandguard, but like, I'm trying to think. The autocannons are 2d3 shots. So on average, the armiger makes 8. The Helverin makes 8 hits, right? Sorry, it makes 8 attacks. It hits on 3s, so expect like 5 wounds. It wounds on 3s, so expect 3 wounds. So basically, you almost need 2 Helverins to shoot at 1 squad of Sangre Guard to kill 1 model. I mean, that's 300 points of shooting to kill 1 model. That's 30 points. Like, maybe they're decent into non-Blood Angels Armor of Contempt models, but into Blood Angels ones, like, that doesn't seem strong to me. I mean, I'm CP starved because I feel like we need to spend suppression fire. You know, we can't be getting interrupted when we make our charges, and or we need to prevent against Overwatch. So the whirlwind's like a double-edged sword. Like, we need it, but it's horrible to have to spend the CP on it every game, and spending the CP on it is kind of really important. I really want Marines to get a better version of Master of the Codex. I'm honestly thinking of running Master of the Codex in the near future. I've run it before, and I mean, it's been alright for me. I've run it before where it's generated me 5 CP in a game. So yeah, I think I like Master of the Codex. Like I said, I've run it before. I wish we had a more reliable CP regeneration trait, because it seems like a lot of other armies have like really reliable CP generation traits and we don't. But I mean, you could say that about a lot of things in the current state of the meta, right? I was reading Richard Siegler's article how he's taken Crimson Fists. Yeah, Crimson Fists to the American Championship tournament, the final 8, and I was actually kind of glad to read his article to see that, like, he's going to try and prove to Games Workshop that a good player still gets absolutely toasted on Marines. And I was looking at that Crimson Fist list, and then I was looking at the Blood Angels list, and I think if If the guy who's playing Blood Angels comes up against the Crimson Fist list, like, he can honestly table that Crimson Fist list in turn 2. Like, it's just that bad, that Crimson Fist list. I don't know if you guys have looked at it, but like, I think Crimson Fists are really weak at the moment, and it's kind of it's going to be interesting to see actually what happens, right? Is anyone spamming Judiciars, running them up the board, or Impulsors? Well, I'm not. I mean, I've got one Judiciar, excuse me. Ever since they changed Impulsors and Vulnerable Save to 5-up, like everybody that was running them before that just stopped running them. There are a lot of points in Impulsor, considering the only like, what am I trying to say? They only let you put four guys inside it, or 5 guys inside it. Maybe it's 6, but like the point is you can't get a 10-man squad, I guess. And the vehicle isn't open top, so there's no like shooting while embarked shenanigans as well, which is weird because the vehicle is actually open top, right? Like if you look at the model, it has an open top. The guys sitting in it literally could be shooting. This isn't a bad Crimson Fist list yet. If Master of the Codex worked per player turn like Death Guard Tallyman, it'd be really cool, says DTM. Yeah, I mean, at that point, everybody would run Master of the Codex. It would be so good. Yeah, I had it one game where I basically did a 4-up every battle round, I guess it would be, and got 5 CP back from it. So like, that's the thing about the Death Guard one, right? Like the Death Guard one is like you have to roll a 7-up at the start of either player's command phase. Well, I mean, the average on a 2d6 roll is 7, right? So basically they're saying you get 2 chances every turn to roll averages, and if you roll averages you just get double CP. It's just one of those sort of double standards we have in 40k at the moment. Like, there's no reason on paper that Death Guard need 5 more CP than Space Marines. If anything, probably with the current meta, I'd say Death Guard are probably stronger than Marines still. So why do they need to get 5 more CP guaranteed every game if you take a Tallyman? I mean, I'd pay 50 points, 60 points to take a character if it doubled my CP every game, sure. I mean, Tau has it as well, right? They had it where it was like, you could take the Ethereal on a 2+, you just get a command point, extra command point every turn. Eldar have a Psychic Power, where you just cast the Psychic Power, you get an extra command point every turn. Like, there's almost no reason that, like, the only reason the Space Marine one's so shitty is because it came out like 6 months before the other ones, and that codex isn't overpowered like a lot of the stuff that came after it, I guess. I think. I mean, I could be wrong, but I mean, I feel like I'm right. We'll see. Hopefully Master of the Codex gets made better, because I would run it more. I would run it if it was. I mean, I'm probably going to end up running it anyway, just because I have an aversion to Dante. For like, he always seems to let me down. Evening, Ben. A Judiciar that had a 6-inch heroic intervention trait works well. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the best ways to run the Judiciar, I guess, right? Give him selfless valor, and we used to see it, like when I used to run the Judiciar, I used to have him basically run right behind a Leviathan Dreadnought. So basically anything that charged the Leviathan Dreadnought would just fight twice, and with the heavy flamers that the Leviathan can take as well, it just meant like it made it super hard to take the Leviathan Dreadnought down in melee. And I used that against Sisters a few times, because like Repentia are like my biggest nemesis. I mean, Zephyrim as well, but a Leviathan Dreadnought with double heavy flamer and fighting first into Repentia is actually like pretty legitly useful in terms of like countering one of the hardest hitting, nastiest things the Sisters can bring against us. I also noticed in the event, because this was the first time, it'll be coming next week, this was the first time I ever played against the Silent King. And I did not realise, because... So the Silent King, if you make him your warlord, you just get plus 3 CP. So like Necron players typically start on 9 CP, because I said to the guy, like, how many CP are you starting on? And like every other game, this event, everybody was like, oh, I start on 2 CP, I start on 3 CP or something. The Necron guy was like, oh, I start on 8 CP. I was like, I actually thought he'd messed up. Like, I actually thought like he was using like Nachman rules or something. I was like, even on this 6 CP you start with the Nephilim? And he was like, yeah, Silent King just gives me 3 CP for me and my warlord. I was like, alright, that's pretty nice. I mean, imagine if Dante gave 3 CP for being the warlord. Then I would overlook all his other shortcomings and just be like, yeah, I just run Dante because 3 CP is pretty fucking nice. Inquisitor can generate a CP, that is true. I have got an Inquisitor behind me. I bought the one that came out this year. What's he called? This one? I haven't made him yet. Maybe I'll make him over the Christmas holidays. Someone else also said that like there's the Inquisitor Draxus that seems pretty good, because Draxus, I believe, gets a 24-inch deny. And I think he gets 2 of them. Is that right? And then he also gets a targetable smite. So basically, whenever he smites, he can actually just pick a target as opposed to having to smite the closest. And a targetable smite is actually really useful because, like, I guess when I played Death Guard a few weeks ago, right, and they had like that giant blob of stuff, and it had like no reroll auras, fight last auras, count as not charging auras. I mean, if you run into that, that's like almost impossible for Blood Angels to deal with. And you're not going to be able to shoot that character away because he's surrounded by like 20 Poxwalkers and 10 Deathwing Terminators. So I guess if you have a targetable smite, if you're 18 inches away, maybe you can just target him and smite him 2 turns in a row. And I mean, I guess like I'd use a reroll on those smites because you need them to go off, because otherwise you're still struggling to ever make a charge into that blob. But targetable smite, obviously because it's a psychic power, they're not protected by Lookout Sir, right? I kind of like that. I think it's decent. But we don't see that often. But I did see it do well in a tournament, so it does see like maybe it's an edge case. Maybe it's something people are not prepared to deal with. If you guys want to be destroyed, run a Crimson Fist list that's Firstborn. Marcus says, well, I mean, the guy's running a Crimson Fist list that is, I think it's primarily Firstborn stuff, because it was like Terminators. Maybe there were some Eliminators or some Eradicators in there. I honestly didn't look at the list too much. I just skimmed the list and looked at it and went like, oh my god, that list is going to get crushed. Because I mean, Marines aren't in a great place, and the Crimson Fists are certainly not in a great place either, right? Dante will cross the Rubicon, and he's getting new rules. In the books, they've been playing up how old and tired he is. A rejuvenation is coming, says Wildling. They definitely have been playing up how old he is, and that he's still needed. He's still important to the Imperium, I agree with you. So I think a rejuvenation is coming. The question is when, Wildling. Like, we've been waiting and waiting. Wolfden says maybe they'll make suppressors better. I mean, suppressors are like a missed opportunity if anything ever came, right, Wolfden? Because suppressors never even got their own boxed release, right? Like, you could get them in that like Primaris Vanguard starter set or whatever it was called, the Vanguard Force. Suppressors never, like, there is no way to buy a box of suppressors. Like, you only get them in those Vanguard boxes, which is pretty crazy. Like, it just shows that obviously, like, they just they're obviously not a popular unit or model if they don't even have their own box. Like 2 years? Probably suppressors. They're probably 2 years old, maybe a bit older, are they? Inquisitors are good as long as you run them cheap. Yeah, I would advise, if you are running Inquisitors, that you try and keep them as cheap as possible. I mean, it also like opens up the assassination option against you, which maybe isn't the end of the world, but I mean, you never want to give up too many easy points, right? Suppressors are terrible is the echoing thing from chat. I'm actually reading through the Astrath book at the moment, guys, which is the book after when's it set? It's set after the Darkness in the Blood. So it seems pretty good. If you've not picked up Astrath yet, I would say it's worth checking out. Yeah, I mean, Siegler will play Crimson Fists well. I just don't think he has a chance because I think Crimson Fists are just far too behind in the meta. I could be wrong. I mean, maybe we'll see a surprise Crimson Fist victory. But I doubt it. I really doubt it. The Spear of Teslo was Sanguinius' spear. Yes. It's just I think it's probably on his Forge World profile. He also had a sword. I forget the name of the sword. There's a comic. I think is it the Blade and Carmine he had? I mean, I don't have a Sanguinius because obviously he's been dead in 40k and it never made a whole heap of sense for me to buy him, but I mean, maybe one day I'll buy a Sanguinius. John is painting curses as well tonight. Blade and Carmine, look, I got a bit of the roll. The rule was right. The roll. What am I trying to say? The lore. I got a bit of the lore right. The Blade and Carmine. There's the comic series called Blood Quest, where it's about one of the captains of the Blood Angels who lost the Blade and Carmine. I think he lost it in a battle against Tyranids, right? And like the comic series is him trying to redeem himself and recover the blade for the glory of the chapter. I think Dante lent him the blade, I think was the lower part of it. I bought the comics because they did like a re-release in color. They did a re-release in color a few years back on the GW website, so I bought them, but you know, it's a pathetic excuse. I should have read them already. Maybe I'll try and read them over the holidays. I get so many things I need to do over these holidays coming up. I get 2 weeks off at Christmas, and the amount of things I want to get done is just ridiculous. I want to film a new channel trailer over Christmas. I want to get all my painted stuff out and put it all together and try and like create create like a big giant dioramas type thing and then film it all. We'll see. I'm gonna definitely try and carve out some time for that. Looking at special weapons and additional things like Carson and even guard squads just make Space Marines look very sad. I think GW know Space Marines are in a very sad state. I think we're close enough to the end of this edition or something that surely they're gonna, you know, it seems like the last few weeks or months, maybe, Highland, they've been taking this like meta watch like a lot more seriously on the Warhammer community. You know, like we've never really seen, I mean, we've seen the head of the Warhammer studio before on camera and we've had interviews with him, but we've never seen the actual like meta watch videos on such a regular basis. So I think the future's bright. I think that we will be, I think they're trying to make all armies competitive. I mean, that's what they said on the meta watch. So I really do think the future's bright. I think it's just going to take them a little while to get to where they need to be, which is fine. I mean, I can wait. We've been waiting long enough. At least we know it's something that's going to be starting to happen now, right? And like, we will be seeing improvements to armies like on a more regular / balanced basis, and they're looking at all the tournament results, and overall it sounds good. I'm hopeful. I'm really hopeful. I mean, the reason I've gone to the last 2 tournaments that I've went to and not had a full blood in, well, I mean, one tournament was a super heavy tank and the other tournament was a detachment of armigers. The only reason I've done that is because I felt like I wouldn't have won the tournament with my Blood Angels list. James Gibbs says, how about a festive Discord thread for us to show off our full collections? We could certainly do that, James. Maybe we could even do it on a stream if everybody sends in their full collections, or a couple of pictures of their full collections. We could do a stream around collections. That might be kind of cool, right? I'm definitely going to do a stream at New Year, I think, again. And over the holidays I'm not going to make any tactics videos. I think I've said this already, like, but I am going to stream a bit more, so I think I might do some extra painting. I might play some of the 40k games that I was playing through that Grey Knights game. I've still not started Battle Sector. I was really enjoying that Grey Knights game, actually. Chaos Gate? Like, I was really enjoying it. Honestly, I've played like 4 hours of it since it came out like 3 months ago. So I was thinking over the holidays I'll do a bit more streaming, a bit less like tactics / analysis videos. It's just 2 weeks, and I honestly think I would like the recharge as well. I mean, and also like, yeah, I mean, I'd like the recharge, and then hopefully in the new year, if there's a new book or something, and there's lots of new Blood Angels units, and there's a lot more balance, then I plan to hit the ground running with all that, and see if we can cover everything, and you know, that sort of thing. These guys are a bit tricky with their, I was gonna say, with their guns right in front of their chest pieces. The problem for GW is that Space Marines is literally the worst faction they can have as OP. They're clearly worried about Marines being too strong compared to other factions. Why is it the worst faction? I thought Space Marines sold the most models. I think possibly the problem with Space Marines, Podger, is there's too many data sheets. Like, if you pick up the Space Marine Codex, like, it's just so thick, like, they just have so many units. I think I think that might be one of the reasons. But yeah, I mean, there's no excuse that like flyers and armor are just complete dog shit, right? Like, I honestly think part of the problem is the inflexibility of the doctrines. Like, I think if doctrines were more flexible, like a lot more flexible, like I think we could, like I think that's possibly all you would need to do to make Marines a lot better, is just like add quite a bit of flexibility to doctrines. So like, let people go into the doctrines when they want to. You know, because like you've got, for example, like use Crimson Fist for example, like, you know, they've got like what, 1 turn in heavy doctrine, and that's when they do the most damage, and then they're out of it. Blood Angels, we have to sit around for 2 turns doing nothing, waiting for tactical doctrine. Yeah, we can put the odd model into assault doctrine with a priest, but then we're forced to take a priest. Like, you know, maybe we don't want to take a priest, maybe we'd just like to be able to get to assault doctrine quicker and spend the 120 points we have to spend on the priest on, like, that's 4 Sanguinary Guard. If we could get to assault doctrine quicker without taking the priest, why, you know, why wouldn't we? And then why wouldn't we just take 4 more Sandguard? Or that's 4 Vanguard veterans, Lightning Claws, you know? I want a Blood Angels Commander Salt Shaker. I talked to Brett a little bit about commissioning some sort of Blood Angels Commander t-shirt, because Brett's an artist who does really good work, I guess. Try to get him to give me a quote on what it would cost to get like a piece commission that could be on a t-shirt. I'll chase him up. Island Phoenix. I was thinking it might be something to do with like we need more Sandguard or some sort of like Blood Angels Commander joke / meme. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, we are over 10,000. I should probably try and get a t-shirt on the go that people can, if they want to support the channel, they can purchase a Blood Angels Commander t-shirt. It would be cool to have. I think my biggest problem, Highland, is I have more video ideas than I have time, right? Like, probably in the last couple of months there's been a few times where it's like I've had this idea, like, hey, I want to make a video, or I've had ideas of videos that I want to make, but I've just not had the actual hours in the day to make the videos. So my priority always seems to be making videos, but it's just finding the time to do everything is difficult. Hey, thank you so much. Oh, Ink's coming in with a gifted sub. It wouldn't be a Saturday night stream, Inks, without you hooking somebody up. It's DTM again. Oh, what a lucky man. Thank you, Inks. I appreciate the gifted sub as always. I think I finally broke Carter the other night, because Carter was like, I can't do it. I've spent all my money this month. There's no more gifted subs for me. I was like, wow, that's a first. Carter and Inks, you guys are amazing. Thank you. I haven't really decided what this under bit of the bolter color is going to be. I think sometimes when I'm doing bolters I try and put multiple colors on them, and then sometimes I just end up going like, you know what, I've been over ambitious here. I'm just gonna keep them like black and silver. It's a bolter. Why am I trying to put a million colors onto it? Kind of feel like that's where I'm at with this. Island Phoenix, subbing for yourself does count. 22 months, thank you so much for that. It does count. 100% it counts. I guess it just doesn't pop up in every stream, right? Like, it's not front and center like the gifted subs. But you've done gifted subs before. I appreciate it, dude. I really do. I actually bought these pair of glasses, brand new pair of glasses with the money from the subscriptions last month, because I've been sitting for like I've been sitting for months. When you're a parent, you'll start to realize this. You don't prioritize yourself. You prioritize your family. So I've been sitting for months, like, knowing that I needed new glasses. And like just trying to deal with it, just like, you know, I know I need new glasses, but let me just wait like another 6 months or something, you know, like it's not a super high priority. And then like last month I started getting like pain in my left eye, which is a thing, apparently, I guess. Like literally my left eye was getting sore and it was just watering all the time, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. So I finally went and got a new pair of glasses. I'm not getting pain in my eye anymore, so that's good, right? And yeah, it was literally sub money that got me these new glasses, so thank you for that, guys. I can see again. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Mark has got his first Blood Bowl tournament tomorrow, and he needs some good vibes. Good luck, Mark. It's the elves you're playing at Blood Bowl, isn't it? Yeah, you've given me like the gift of sight. One might even say the gift of foresight, right? Sorry, one sec, let me take the shirt off. It actually gets pretty warm in this room just because I've got this giant light. I don't need to be wearing my gloves tonight, that's for sure. But yeah, no, I'm really appreciative of it because yeah, as a parent, I guess you just don't prioritize yourself, and I was like, man, I know I need new glasses, but I probably was just going to wait 6 months or something. I think I'd already needed them for about 6 months. So, yeah, it's really nice. Really happy. I mean, it's sad to say how happy I am, but honestly, I'm so happy with new glasses, so thank you. Couple more gifted subs coming in. Look at that. Carter lied. He's a liar. You can't. You told me no more money, Carter. Stop buying gifted subs. Thank you. I hope we get like I just want. What I think I want the most, people sometimes come in and ask, what do I want the most, like in 10th edition? I'll tell you, just painting Primaris models over Firstborn models, because I've been painting Firstborn models now for like 3 months, right? Because I've just been painting constant, like, you know, I need more Death Company with hammers, I need more Sangre Guard with, well, a bunch of my Sangre Guard had like Power Fists, and plasma pistols, so I just need more Sangre Guard, like with the default loadouts and stuff like that, right? When you actually come and start painting Primaris for the first time in like, I don't know, 6 months or something after painting all that Firstborn stuff, you just realize that the Primaris models are just, you know, they're just a tiny bit bigger, but they just feel so much nicer when you're painting them. If I have one wish for the next edition, it's just like, give us a really, really good Primaris model that's really, really good in combat and is really fast, like with a jump pack, and then I can just paint like 30 of them. That's my wish. I just want to be able to have like, I need, you know, I don't care if I have to buy like 6 boxes of the stuff. Just give me a really strong, fast-moving Primaris model and I'll buy 30 of them. I guess that's why some people, thank you so much for the gifted sub as well, Highland Phoenix. You're just flexing now. I appreciate it. Inks has been a member for 2 months. Thank you, Inks. It's all going crazy. It's lighting up now in chat tonight. Thank you for the subs. Yeah, I guess that's why some people are doing like, they're converting and making like, you know, true size Sangre Guard or true size Death Company, I guess. I can understand it. I've never really thought about it much. I just thought like, well, I'll just wait until they come out. But yeah, once you actually take a break from painting Primaris. Okay, it's really going crazy now. Thanks again for another gifted sub. Once you take a break from painting Primaris and you go back to them over like Firstborn, I can totally see why people do it, because it's just like, it just feels sort of night and day. They are only a tiny bit bigger. Like, it's not much, but they just feel so nice to paint comparatively, I guess. Primaris Captain on a bike would be cool. That would be a model that I would love. If they make a Primaris Captain on a bike, he needs to be able to equip like a Thunder Hammer and an Infernal Pistol. Because that's like, I feel like you need a 3 damage weapon. Like, that's the one thing that really bothers me. Like with a Relic Blade, you know, like I just want 3 damage weapon. So if you ever fight half damage nonsense, or if you ever fight -1 damage, you still do 2 damage, which is still enough to make up for it, right? True-size Terminators would be awesome. Do you know what? I would love true-size Terminators. That's something I hadn't even considered. There was a rumor of Primaris Terminators, wasn't there, for a few minutes there? It's weird. There's been so many rumors about Marines, and then like none of them have come to fruition. These rumors have been going on for months now. I think I first did a video on the rumors, like, honestly, like, was it? It feels like it was at least a couple of months ago, the first time they announced, like, the rumor about the... I think the first rumor about the Melee Redemptor was probably, like, 4 months ago now, 5 months ago, so, like, the Marine rumors have just been coming thick and fast, and, like, there's nothing substantial from it, I guess. So here's a question for chat, I guess. Has anyone bought Duncan Rhodes's paint set? I noticed that his paint set has now finished its Kickstarter and people have it been delivered, and Ninjon, I don't know if you guys watch Ninjon. He's a YouTuber that does painting videos. He's probably one of my... he's probably my favourite. I would love it if I was ever away I could do a video with him. I think he's legitly funny. If you've never watched Ninjon, you should. I think it's just like Ninjon. I assume that means his name is John. And I mean, if you've got a name like John, that generally means you're pretty awesome, right? So, yeah, he got Duncan Rhodes' paint set in the paint set. Yeah, I think it's a set. And it's just called Too Thin Coats is the name of the type of paint. And I've seen it appear on some websites, like for now that the Kickstarter's over, you can like buy bottles of it. It comes in dropper bottles. It comes in dropper bottles, and it's basically the same colors as the GW paints, right? Like it comes with a chart that basically says, like, you know, they've got one called like Sanguine Scarlet, which is in fact Mephiston Red, right? Like, so that it's easy to like map. It's easy to map these paints against like your previous GW paints, I guess. I'm really tempted to get it because I obviously use GW colors. So if it's a real match and it's in like dropper bottles. Because that's the one thing about the GW bottles, not being in droppers kind of sucks, right? You just waste paint. And I don't have an airbrush yet, but it seems as well if it's in a dropper bottle, it makes it like a lot easier for you to use with an airbrush. I think I will get an airbrush at some point. Where'd you get the set? I don't know where you get it. I mean, if you just go into Google and search Too Thin Coats paint, like Too Thin Coats, like here in the UK, it's on like Wayland Games. Let me show you this. Yeah, like
Whaling Games. And you can click here, too thin coats. Like, there's a lot of colours, and like I said, there's a chart. Maybe if you go back to like the Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy, there's 60 paints, and then yeah, there's this chart that shows you, like, you know, Skeleton Legion is a Shatty Bone from Citadel, and it's Skeleton Bone from Army Painter. So like there's a chart that like map up all the paints. I just was curious if anyone else has had it, or anyone else has bought it, and if anyone else has opinions on it. Tony will probably buy it because Tony is really Tony, out of the three grots, Tony's like a resident expert on paint. He's the guy that goes one step further when in terms of buying paint. Me and Mark were just both like basically Citadel fans, but I mean, I'm not a I buy Citadel paint, but I'm not a fan of their bottles. I've had other paints in dropper bottles, and they've lasted like so much longer. I mean, hardly any air ever gets into them in the dropper bottle, and you only use what you need, sort of deal, I guess, right? GW pots are designed to dry paint. I don't know if GW pots are just they're just an old design, are they? Or are they supposed to be new people friendly because they've got that lip on them? It's probably more likely. I would say it's probably more likely they design it to try and be new player friendly, so if you don't have a painting palette or something like that, you can paint straight out of the bottle using the little like cup on the top, but like nobody does that, right? Like what do you call this little bit here? This thing. Because I've definitely put water on that before when I've been painting as like a brand new person before I used a palette. I've put water on that before. I want to say somebody in the GW store told me to do that. They're like, oh, you should thin it down by putting a little bit of water in here. It's pro acrylic. I'm not a paint guy. I really am not. I'm really not good with. Like, I had a long break from the hobby, and when I came back, I just bought a shed load of GW paint. I didn't even realize that like other paints were really an option. So I'm at the point now where I'm getting a little bit more serious about the painting. I feel like I'm a little bit more like, this brush is terrible, and I'm still really accurate with it. So I feel like I'm getting a little bit more serious, and I would like to buy better paint if that's an option. James, $20. No, £20. Thank you, James. Maybe we can crowdfund you an airbrush for Christmas.
James
Miles was showing me
£20 via Super Chat. A contribution to the airbrush fund. Maybe we can crowdfund an airbrush for you for Xmas.
Miles was showing me an airbrush, and again it was reviewed by Ninjon, because Miles actually said to me, he was like, hey, do you know the guy Ninjon? I mean, Ninjon only popped up to me like probably like a year ago, but like he seems like yeah, I really like his videos, and yeah, he reviewed this airbrush, so Miles has linked me an airbrush, and it's not an expensive one, and that he said that he was going to get started, so that's my plan. Oh, and I signed up for 2 more tournaments this week after saying I was going to take a break from being super competitive for a little while. I guess that my thought of taking a break from being super competitive lasted like an hour after my last tournament. So I signed up for a tournament in January, and I signed up for a tournament in March. One's a GT, one's a team tournament. Crozier asked a question. How old was I? Sorry. When/how did I get into Warhammer? I don't know. When I was a kid, I liked board games a lot. I had Hero Quest. which was basically like a GW game almost. I don't know, I guess I like board games, and we had a local game shop that had loads of Warhammer stuff, and I must have just, I feel like I just saw 40k on the shelf, and it was like Space Marines and Orcs, and I was like, I want that. And I got it for Christmas or something. I think I was like 9 years old, because my first models I had Crozier were super badly painted. I was showing a Rhino off the other day on stream that I painted when I was like 10. And it's honestly the worst painted Rhino. It's actually kind of the worst made Rhino you've ever seen as well. Like the model, I've done a terrible job of putting that model together. But I did have a long break from 40k. Like I went to university, and obviously when you're at university, playing Warhammer isn't your top priority and stuff. So I had a long break for like probably like a decade, and then when I got a bit older and came back to it, and I've been back now for about 5 years, maybe going on 6 years now. So I feel like I probably should have more stuff fully painted and finished for being back like 5 or 6 years, but I'm slow. I know I'm slow at painting. It's the process, it's the journey, it's the fun for me. Like I don't need to bash stuff out quickly, I guess. I like to take my time because the models are like, I feel like it's an expensive hobby, and like you know, I'm not gonna rush it. I'm gonna take my time and enjoy it. Get back on the horse. I'm trying, DTM. I'm trying. What's next on the list? More invulnerable saves? No, I think next on my list, because I made 2 lists, and I don't know if I told you guys, I commissioned well, I say commissioned, it's in progress at the moment. Mike's got it. I think he's just about finished it. I commissioned a Terrax siege drill. So I've made 2 lists. One list that includes the Terrax and one that doesn't. And I think I prefer the list that's got the Terrax in it. But, you know, basically I'm up for trying different things. So I'm gonna hopefully probably run the Terrax at the event in March, and maybe the event in January. I'll just run the list with the Terrax. Is pretty interesting actually, because I'm going to run Tycho the Lost, and I don't think anyone thought ever that I would run Tycho the Lost, but yeah, I mean, invulnerable saves is not something that I'm leaning into too hard. I know Marines suffer from lack of invuns, but I guess it just is the way it is at the moment. I'm hoping Games Workshop will improve that at some point. Laser Vindicator Destroyer, yeah, I mean, I'm doing one of them as well. So yeah, I think the things that I've got recently done, obviously I got the Gladiator tank commissioned, and Mike was good enough to make it so that I can run all 3 variants of the Gladiator. So I've got all 3 variants of the Gladiator, I've got the Terrax, I've got the Vindicator Laser Destroyer. I did commission a squad of Voidsmen. I guess they're not really going to get played now maybe, but I mean it's good to have. And I also commissioned an Ironclad Dreadnought. This was actually a commission that I did like kind of like Q1 this year, but the commission artist that I had like fell through, so I had to like PayPal dispute it. But I got all the money back, so that's why I was able to like continue this new commission with Mike. I actually thought I was gonna have lost all my money, honestly, because it got like 9 months in, and I was like, man, he's just not doing this commission for me. And then I kind of remembered like, oh, I could try and PayPal dispute this, and I did, and to his credit, like he instantly replied and then just sent me all the models, so, and refunded me the whole commission amount. So really glad that that's done. I don't know, like, there was a couple of reasons that I like the Ironclad Dread. I mean, one of the reasons I like an Ironclad Dread is because like it's got like a really high flat, like you can do flat 5 damage, I think, and you can also re-roll your ones. But we don't really see any ironclads, and I was thinking of going back, like I was thinking of going back to a psyker. I was half thinking about going back to a psyker with like null zone. So if you do go in the null zone psyker, then you can take the ironclad, you can take mighty heroes, which will make the ironclad toughness 9. So I mean, a toughness 9 dreadnought for Blood Angels sounds pretty nice, because ironclad's T8 normally. And I guess that's one of the things that I was trying to say on my stream is like, I like building lists, I like trying to figure things out. I don't like just going, oh, 3 squads of Sangry Guard are best right now, so that's my list. Or like, you know, 3 squads of Sangry Guard, 3 squads of Death Company, and like no variation. You know, that like that's just what you have to run if you want to win games. I really kind of hate that. So I much prefer just building my own lists. And do you know what? If it means I don't win events because I built my own lists, I think I'd still rather just build my own list than copy someone's list. What's Tycho going to be attacking with in melee, James? I mean, he's got basically a lightning claw, right? I think. One of the reasons I think I'm taking Tycho though is he's cheap. He's got the Death Company keyword, right? And he's he lets Death Company reroll hits within 9 inches. But we'll see. I mean, I'm gonna like I like to experiment. I mean, that's why I took super heavy tank. That's why I took armatures to an event, because I like to experiment. I don't like just to copy other people. I mean, there's merit in copying sometimes, I guess, but I like to experiment. James, thank you so much for hanging out. Thanks for the 20. I do appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. I hope you have a nice night. Anyone know if army painter paints are any good, says Wildling. I mean, the best thing to do if you're not sure about paints probably is to try and find some YouTuber that's reviewed them, right? I'll probably buy some of that too thin coat stuff, because I'm probably at the point where like I need to replace some of my GW paints. Because I haven't bought paint probably in like a year at this point, so I'm probably close to needing to replace some paints. So I think I'll buy some of the too thin coat stuff to try it out, and I mean I can easily do some sort of review. Oh shit, don't put yellow on there. I can easily do some sort of video / review and let you guys know my thoughts on it. Now, cheapest Death Company you can take already has a 2-up save and an AP3 weapon and a Mastercrafted combat weapon. He isn't that bad. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Tycho's amazing, but I think it's just, it would just fit my idea of like, I want to put some things in a Terrax, and I want whatever's coming out the Terrax to be kind of scary or kind of make people think twice about it, and I also want them to have the Death Company keyword so I can score. So I can double down on secondaries, like I can score Relentless Assault and I can score the Death Company one. Fury of the Lost. So I'm probably going to run Tycho and Lamortis. Well, I made 2 lists. One of the lists didn't have Tycho in it, so maybe that's the more experimental list. But like I said, I like to experiment. I like to make my own lists. It's one of the things that I find the most fun is like finding out making lists. So that's why that's probably one of the reasons that I'm the most frustrated as well at the moment with the meta, where it's like, right, we know there's a build for Blood Angels that's good, but is that the only viable build? I mean, I guess you could say the Centurion build is viable, but I don't know. I'm holding off buying 3 more Centurions. I feel like I kind of did the Centurion thing already. yes, maybe 6 Centurions is more viable than 3. Maybe one day I'll buy 3 more Centurions, but it's not top of my list. I mean, it puts a lot of eggs into one basket, and yeah, I still think you're map dependent. Maybe if you do that Centurion build, like you need the map to help you out sometimes. Jim says he works as a 95-point Terrax rider. Yeah, I was thinking like Tycho the Lost, a company champion with Icon of the Angel, maybe like 8 Death Company and 2 company veterans or something. So all in all, you're like 500 points. But straight away, like if you can fit the Terrax into their deployment zone, then you got 5 units in their deployment zone, and 2 of them are Death Company. So you're really opening up multiple options for scoring secondaries. I think it'll be cool. I mean, I'll try and run it on the channel in the next year. I was going to say the next year, maybe a bit quicker than that. Beginning of next year would be the right amount of time, I think. Centurion's one of my 4th box I built getting into hobby. Drilling the Hurricane bolters in the chest was the worst thing I've ever experienced. Oh, I mean, that's because... I was gonna say, that's because you wasted time drilling your barrels. I don't drill any of my barrels. There was a big controversy on drilling barrels. Some people think it's heretical to not drill them. Other people, like me, I'm like, meh, I don't drill barrels. See, but I paint underneath my models. Some people don't paint underneath their models, but would drill the barrels. So I guess different people have different priorities. But yeah, I mean, those Hurricane bolters on the chest pieces are nightmarish anyway. They're so small. So yeah, drilling them sounds like a form of torture, dude. I mean, I'm just glad Blood Angels can finally take Centurions, because there was a long period of there where we weren't even allowed to field them, so I'm glad that we can finally take them. But I'm really not in a rush to jump out and buy 3 more of them. I just think that they're slow and that they're durable sometimes, right? I think my problem is there's still armies they're not durable into. And if you take 300 and some points of Centurions and you come up against one of those armies where they're not durable, like, it's just gonna feel so bad, I guess. I don't like to ever run a list where I feel like there's like a hard counter to it. And maybe it would be different if I went to like a tournament every week, and if I came to an event and I came up against a list that had a hard counter to it, I would just be like, oh, it's fine. You know, on to the next tournament next weekend, you know, no big deal. But I guess because I don't go to that many events, I guess primarily because of having kids and having a family and stuff, that means that like I don't ever want to go to an event if it's my one event in that 3 months. I don't want to go to an event and be like, oh, I came up against a hard counter, that's it, game over. I'm gonna have to go AFK just a sec, guys, and set on my daughter again. She's been having nightmares. She was up like 5 times last night. This is like the 4th time she's woken up tonight. I'll be back in just one sec.
Sorry. What's the most useless tank? Hunters and stalkers. God, do they even sell hunters and stalkers anymore? Like, is that something like you? I've never owned a hunter or a stalker, and I don't think I've ever met anyone that's owned a hunter or a stalker. Like, I've never played against one. Sure, I had a long time out of the hobby, but like, yeah, no, even I don't think we've ever even seen a list. Maybe we've seen one list in like 3 years of army list shows. Maybe one time we've seen a hunter or a stalker, I think. It must be like a super off meta list where like someone plays against really heavy aircraft or something, but that sort of got removed, right, with a balance data slate earlier this edition where you couldn't run multiple aircraft anymore. Or you could run multiple, but you could only run 2 down from like... Well, I guess some lists, like AdMech, would honestly run 4 aircraft, wouldn't they? Up again. I'm sorry guys, 1 second. You like the look of the stalker? Okay. Well, I mean, I guess looks are important, right? Alright, let me get some Dawnstone is what I'm looking for. Dawnstone. Carter says, run 2 Redemptors, a Leviathan and dual Grav, a Tech Marine and Dante. Do it. I think I was going to run a Dreadnought list, Carter. I would run... I don't like Redemptors at an event, at tournaments. And the reason I don't like them at tournaments is because I've been to tournaments where I've really needed, like, firepower out of the Redemptors, and they've rolled like 1 for the number of shots. And Redemptors are really, like, if you get 6 shots with the plasmas, they're really good, but like when you need 6 shots or when you need a lot of firepower, you're gonna roll like, if you run 2 Redemptors, my experience is you'll roll like 1 for 1, you'll CP it and you get 2 shots, and the other one gets 2 shots, and now you can't CP it, and it's like, oh. So I think I was gonna run, if I was gonna run Dreadnoughts to an event, I would run double Contemptor. I just think it's the more reliable choice, I guess. I've run double Contemptor to an event before actually, and it was fine, it was decent, it did pretty well overall. And I think that, like, yes, Contemptors went up in points from when I did that, because they were 150 points when I was running them like that. But when I was running them like that, Sangori Guard were like 32 points per model. So I think, although Redemptors went up 20 points, I probably saved
the points on like the Sandguard. So I think possibly like it would almost be no different. Like I could almost run that old Contemptor, double Contemptor list, right? Because like it was the Tech Marine double Contemptor list. It would, you know, because it would cost the same amount of points, because although the Contemptors went up 40 points, the Sanguinary Guard and the Death Company all came down probably more than 40 points. You know, so I do think that like I still like Volcons. I still like Volcons. Yes, they're swingy, but I think they're less swingy than Redemptors. And also I think sometimes sometimes the most important thing for like your fire support to do is to open up transports. And I think Volcons are usually pretty good into transports, because transports typically don't have great saves. So even though they're like no AP, or I guess 1 AP in Devastator, you're still gonna make them take a boatload of saves. And like every failed save is 2 wounds and then mortals on top. So yeah, I think if I wanted to run Dreadnoughts right now, I think I would run Contemptors. The problem with running Dreadnoughts though is like they eat up all your elite slots, right? And we need our elite slots. Unless of course you're going to do some sort of like patrol and vanguard, but I don't think you can do a patrol and vanguard and take the Contemptors, because that'll just eat up all your command points. So yeah, I mean it's just kind of not viable. Might have been viable before when you started on 12 command points, I guess. But I guess it's probably not viable now. Used to be able to take Contemptors with Twin Carries Assault as an anti-aircraft pattern. That was before my time. The strong build with the Volkites used to be, or sorry, the Contemptors used to be double las cannon. We used to see a lot of people run Contemptors with double las cannons before the Volkites. But I think when you ran double las cannon, they had more they didn't have more AP, they had a better ballistic skill, right? Because I think Relic Contemptors used to have a 2-up ballistic skill. I think they also used to have they might have also used to have a 2-up save. I know they used to have a Feel No Pain. So they lost quite a lot. Like they changed Volkite, or they changed Contemptors quite a lot this edition. Because they used to have basically the same amount of wounds but 6-up Feel No Pain. I think the Custodes ones kept that 6-up Feel No Pain, but the Marines ones lost it. Redemptors with Judicars. Yeah, I mean, Redemptor's melee threat, or their melee damage is never in question, I guess. What is in question is, like, I think half the reason you take the Redemptors is for the plasma gun, but the plasma gun is unreliable, which makes the whole reason for taking them like a big question mark, right? And I mean, I've taken Redemptors to multiple tournaments. And yeah, I just feel like when you're desperate for the Redemptors to do some damage, you're gonna end up rolling crap. Like if they change Redemptors, right, and they just made the plasmas on them like heavy 3 as opposed to heavy D6, I think I'd honestly remember the average of a D6 is 3.5, right? So like heavy 3 is actually statistically worse than heavy D6, but I think it's just you can't rely on it for the number of shots at the event. So I think although heavy D6 is statistically better than heavy 3, I think I'd be more likely to take them if they were heavy 3, honestly. And I guess you could disagree with me all day long on that, but I'm just telling you, when I When I go to an event and I really need a good number of shots from the Contemptor on a really important turn, I'm rolling a fucking 1. Like, that's just what happens. And like, if I'm playing on like a low tier table against someone that I know I'm gonna beat, I'm gonna roll a 6 for the number of shots. And I was gonna win that game anyway, and it's just like, in the pressure moment, it feels like then I roll a 1 and I'm just like, oh god. So yeah, I find Contemptors really difficult to... I find them really difficult to include in lists based on my experiences with them. I wouldn't take them for the plasma. The Leviathan does the shooting. Grab the Onslaught and the Fist. You got the Tech Marine. You got the Chapter Master for everything else. Yeah, I mean, the problem is, I suppose, it's a lot of points to spend on something. And I've done Math Hammer on the Onslaught cannons, and they aren't good. But then I guess you could say that about a lot of Marine shooting at the moment, right? I did actually magnetize my Onslaught cannons and my plasmas on 2 of my 3 Redemptors. I think the one that I didn't magnetize it on was... No, actually, I think I magnetized it on all 3. I think I magnetized the other arm with the flamer on one of them. I did it on 2 out of the 3, so, but I think I magnetized the plasmas on all of them. I just don't know if I really rate Onslaught cannons. Like, I've used Onslaught cannons in a bunch of games, and experience tells me they're like a bit average. I guess they're okay. I've never really shot an Onslaught cannon and thought, wow, that was great, you know? I guess you could say that about a lot of guns though, right? Redemptors are cool in melee, but not that good. I mean, D3 plus 3 in melee at like -4. Yeah, I think re-rolling the number of shots on a weapon or re-rolling a damage roll, in my opinion, are the lowest value ways of spending command points, right? Am I playing Centurions yet? I mean, no, Miles. I did the Centurion thing before everybody else was doing it. Now everybody else is doing it in 6 mans, and it's... I was doing it in 3 mans, I guess. Did you have to play Blood Angel Centurions or something today? You were at GT today, were you, Miles, or something? On RTT? I don't know. I think if the next box I'm buying is Death Company. I think I'm gonna have. It's just gonna give me all the options for the Firstborn, and I'm gonna use some of the shoulder pads for making some Primaris Death Company as well. And I've been slowly building out Primaris units for a while now, right? Like, and I was speaking to a channel member last night, actually, James Fisher. Who was... I was doing like an interview, like a pre-recorded interview last night, which will be on the channel in a week or 2, and he was saying that he was saying the same as what I've been saying. He was saying like he's starting to stock up on Primaris models. Like he was buying those Storm Speeders. He's actually been buying ATVs, right? Like, he's sort of feeling the same thing that I'm feeling. Like the Primaris stuff cannot stay bad forever, right? Like in GW, we know GW are pushing the Primaris stuff. Like they're trying to sell it more to you than Firstborn for sure. You know, when they do their battle reports on Warhammer Plus, it's Primaris armies typically. Like they're not making Firstborn armies. And yeah, maybe a Firstborn unit will sneak in there or something, but like for the most part, they're making Primaris stuff. So we know that they're going to want to sell the Primaris stuff. So arguably, you can only expect the Primaris rules to get stronger. So, and that's why I guess I've got a Gladiator now, and I guess I've got a Storm Speeder, and I mean, I bought the Fire Strike servo turret. I'm not expecting that to get good. I don't know why I bought that. That was a waste of money. But yeah, maybe like ATVs is an option. Reavers. Okay. I mean, yeah. Maybe there's some things that are a question mark if they're going to be good, but I can sort of see where James is. Like, I feel the same as James. I feel like this Primaris stuff cannot stay bad for an indefinite amount of time. Like, they're going to want to sell more Primaris stuff. They're going to want it to be more competitive. So, like, if there's a Primaris model that you like the look of or fancy, I think it's a better option. Maybe it's not a better option, but I think it's going to be viable at some point, probably sooner rather than later. So that's my reasoning. I mean, you're right. I suppose I could buy Centurions. Do I think Centurions are a bad unit? No. Did I like the 3 when I used to play them? Yes. Do I want to spend 325 points on a squad of slow-ass Centurions moving across the board? Though not really. I mean, it's great that some people have managed to get life out of Centurions, because I mean, I tried to make them work earlier in the edition, and obviously had some luck with them, and inevitably ended up dropping them because I couldn't just get them to work in the meta that I play into. But I think it's brilliant that, like, I guess Steven managed to take them to an event and do well with them and create like a whole meta around Centurions. If people don't do that stuff, if people don't experiment, then I guess we get stuck where, like, we just have, like I've been saying for a while, like we sort of get shoehorned at, like, right, we got Sanguinary Guard that are competitive, we've got Death Company that are competitive, and it's almost like the hell with everything else, and that's the thing that I don't like. The only reason the ATV is bad is the Apothecary nerf. I mean, I think they're probably... Maybe the fact that they're not a vehicle as well is bad because it doesn't score engage on all fronts, but they should probably never have allowed you to resurrect 8 wound bikes. I think that's a step too far for the points cost of the Apothecary, but maybe, like, with an ATV, like, it could just be as simple as giving it core. Like, if they got core, suddenly you know ATVs could be decent potentially. I don't actually see the reason that it doesn't have core, right? Because, like, the other bikes have core. If it's not a vehicle, then arguably it should have core. It's maybe just an oversight. Or maybe they thought people would res them and they didn't want them to have core, and then... Yeah. And now they've changed that. They sort of wished they could add core, but they've never gone back and done it, right? You just like really tanky, resilient units? I mean, I do, so it would make you think that I would like the Centurions, right? But I just don't like them. But it's maybe just from, like, it'll be from playing some sort of one of Andrew's skew. Like, Andrew plays skew lists, and there's lists that can just absolutely destroy Centurions and give the Centurions, like, no chance. And that'll be why I don't run them, because from, like, an Andrew skew list, I guess. mean, the way to look at them, I suppose, is like they're just like attack bikes. Toughness 5. I guess they've got 1 better armor save than an attack bike, but like it's very easy to lose all your attack bikes in a single turn, right? My new favourite is Zen's Demons with a 3+ invulnerable save against shooting. I mean, yeah, that's annoying. My new favourite is the Zen Demon Flamers miles, because they're balanced at 25 points a model, aren't they? Those Flamers are so ridiculous. I don't know how they thought that anyone would be able to deal with them. They're crazy. Yeah, I don't even know if it's a bandwagon mark. I think with the Centurions, I just know that there's counters out there in the meta. And I mean, I definitely don't like jumping in the bandwagon either, but I think, yeah, I just think mathematically you can lose like you can lose 5 Centurions pretty easily into certain lists, and you can lose them in a single turn, and I don't know if a priest makes all that much difference. And I think that's the thing that scares me with the Centurion build. Plus, like, there's a lot of times where I used to run Bladeguard veterans across the middle of the map, and like maybe I've been scarred from that, in that like the amount of times I try and get slow-moving units to get across the map, and they just all get wiped before they do anything. I suppose it does draw firepower away from other units, and there is always value to drawing firepower away from other units, especially if your other units are Sandguard and Death Company. You know, maybe I'll run Centurions, but I think I've said that a few times. Maybe I'd run them. I'm just not going to rush out and buy more Centurions at the moment. I don't feel like I want to make a list around slow-moving models, or really slow-moving models. I don't know if they are that good, Carter. I think there's, like... I was going to say, I think Sisters of Battle can, like, probably wipe 5 Centurions without even slightly breaking a sweat. And they can probably wipe... they can probably wipe them from, like, they can probably wipe them with a squad of Retributors from 30 inches away. I feel like that's probably pretty mathematically plausible. I haven't run the maths on it, but I'm pretty sure it would be mathematically possible. When I used to run Centurions against Sisters of Battle, because I've definitely run Centurions against Sisters of Battle before, I've definitely lost the entire squad. And I've also lost the entire squad of attack bikes into Sisters and stuff like that. I think the reason to run them as the 5 or the 6-man Highland Phoenix would be to hoping that 1 or 2 survive, so you could resurrect in lower charge distances and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I guess you're map dependent. You're also hoping you don't run into Sisters. I guess I've probably got a lot of I've played against lots of meta Sisters lists, and I guess they're possibly one of the hardest matchups for us, like I said in the event that I did this week. I don't think my lists... I don't even know if my new list could beat Sisters, but I don't think taking Centurions helps me at all into Sisters. It only helps me if he charges the Centurions with a Repentia, and if he's a good player, he's never going to do that, right? Yeah, I mean, it's not even... it's not even the melee I'm worried about, Highland. It's as much the shooting as the melee. Because, like, a squad of Retributors, I mean, they get 10 multi-melta shots. If they're near Morgan Val, they reroll all hits and wounds. So, I mean, 10 shots... Rerolling all hits gives you 88% hits, so like 8.8 hits. They wound Centurions on 3s, but he's rerolling everything, so it's the same as 88%. What's 8.8 times 88%? Sorry, I can't do that in my head. 8.88 times 88. So I mean, you need to take basically 7.85 up saves for the Centurions, and remember, against Retributors you can't get cover saves, so you're saving on 5s, and you need to take 8 saves on your Centurions. And remember, Sisters get access to Miracle Dice as well, so he'll roll some damage and he'll jank around with Miracle Dice, and like you're basically crossing your fingers behind your back and saying, like, please roll a bunch of 1s or 2s or I've lost my entire squad of Centurions. Because statistically, if he makes 7.7 and you save on 5s, yeah, I should do that as well. 7.7.66. So you fail. So statistically, he gets to do 5 damage rolls against the Centurions with a multi-meltas. Like, that's a lot. He's going to use Miracle Dice, and remember, Sisters can easily take, like, most Sisters lists are taking 2 squads of those. So then you're really just dependent on, like, can I hide these while they get across the map? And if you can't, then you're just going to lose it. You're just going to lose them all. There's nothing you can do about it. Shield of Sanguinius doesn't help you, right? You're already saving on 5s. So, and I suppose the other thing you could do is you could literally do that, kill like 3 or 4 of the Centurions, and then he just needs to charge you with like any one squad and kill that last Centurion. You lost all the Centurions in one turn, and then that's... I think if you lose all the Centurions in one turn and it's early in the game, that's probably devastating for the Centurion list, because like they're the linchpin of your army. I think that's why I run the Centurions. I feel like if they could make Centurions core, I mean, I don't think it's... I think it's the probably, like, if the Centurions could have a 4-up invulnerable save, or if the Centurions could have a -1 damage. I think that's why I like Centurions on Black Templars, right? Because they can actually have... they can take... I forget what they're called. Are they called relic? They're not called relics or something. But there's definitely ways you can upgrade the Centurions. Like, you could make one of them -1 damage or something, and then you could be... Then you would be able to use some jank. So when the damage is coming in, if he ever rolls 2, you'd be like, well, I'll just take it on the one that's -1 damage, right? Bloody Rose are kind of overpowered, Carter. I mean, Sister's already at 54% win rate. as they sort of pull other things down, they're not touching sisters. Their secondaries are kind of a little bit too easy. The Bloody Rose army is just ridiculous. Basically, the whole army is minus 4 AP. I think that sisters. I mean, we just have to deal with it. But I think it. That's why I think it's a bit weird that they're okay with like such a big win rate disparity, because like, you know, we can sit here and say like, well, I mean, Bloody Rose Sisters are really good into a bunch of armies, like, but they're like, well, but they sit at 54%, so Games Workshop are kind of okay with it. I don't know. I honestly don't know how you beat Bloody Rose with Marines at the moment, unless the enemy is not a good player. Like, if they're a good player, like, that's almost an unwinnable match. And I mean, I'm probably one of the people that's had the most experience against that matchup. Like, I've played Bloody Rose Sisters, like, I've probably played them on the channel like 20 times in the last year. And no offense to Andrew, because I think Andrew is a good player, but he jumps around a lot. If people ask like, who's the better 40k player, me or Andrew, I kind of hope people would say it was me. I mean, but I think it's probably just me because I focus on one army and Andrew jumps around all the time. Maybe if Andrew focused on one army all the time, he would be the better player. I don't know, because I mean, Andrew plays probably more games on a week than I play. But then I really do think it just comes down to, like, if Andrew has that sisters list and I'm the better general, but I can't beat it, then that's just I mean, that Sisters of Battle list is just, it's super efficient at killing Marines. There's maybe not much else to say. It's just a really efficient list. Bloody Rose is really good at killing Marines. Like in the team tournament that I have in it, like, I'll play any other list than Sisters, because I actually don't think I can win the game. Every unit I have costs more than his, and we basically trade evenly. So like a 210 point unit of Sangard trades as evenly as like a 100 point squad of Zephyrim. And then he can obviously guarantee 9-inch or 10-inch charges with Miracle Dice, which I can't do as well. So it's just like, that's stacked against you. What's better, a Pulsar Executioner or a Kratos? Tough question. I would probably be willing to say, like, if it was me, I would prefer to play the Kratos, I think. And the reason for that is probably just like the Volkite fire. The Kratos does have a big disadvantage though, right? Because it's 18 wounds, which means it can't be obscured. So even if you're hiding it behind a building or something like that, if they can see any part of it, they can see it, and it's quite a big model. So like the Kratos has a disadvantage, but Repulsor Executioners just, they don't get much play. And I think they don't get much play because they're not good, whereas like the Kratos has, since it's been released, it's had a little bit of play. I'd be more likely to run the Kratos over Repulsor Executioner, but like, I think the Kratos does have a weakness. I mean, all armor has a bit of a weakness at the moment, but I guess the Kratos has a weakness in that, like, you can't obscure it. Did you say there was an updated chart of the secondaries? Yeah, I mean, I updated this point scoring for shock tactics and put it on the chart. I could probably rejig the ordering a little bit now that I've had a chance to play a bunch of games with shock tactics. I actually think shock tactics is a pretty good secondary now. I rate it almost as highly as Relentless Assault. Like, you can definitely use shock tactics if the game, you know, if it's going to be a game where you're going to be flipping objectives and stuff. Shock tactics is definitely, I feel like it's viable. I would like to put forward a revisory Eviscerator Assassin is good unit v sisters. Why? Man, sorry, I'm being way too harsh. I did the math on it as well. Like, it's not like I haven't tried these things. I did the math on the Eviscerator against sisters, and like, he doesn't actually kill that much, right? Like, he maybe kills, and again, this is probably just because of Armor of Contempt, right? He maybe kills like 5 Battle Sisters if you're lucky, and I think maybe even if you have to, you might even have to spend CP for him to do that now. I think the main thing is just, you need to agree with me that sisters are super optimized for killing Marines, and it's a super difficult matchup. God, I'm gonna try and get in behind this gun and paint the top of this belt buckle. It's a nightmare. The Eviscer gets like, I'm gonna pull it up because I remember looking at this. I think I thought the exact same thing. The Eviscer Assassin would be good at sisters. He's not. I think the thing that might be good against sisters is the Alexis, because it'd be hard for them to hit him. But then I guess if they got full rerolls to hits and wounds, then maybe it doesn't matter. The Eviscer gets 6 attacks. He gets more when he charges. He gets 8 attacks. He hits on 2s, but then he's only, I mean, I guess you use his power sword, which is -2 against sisters, and it's strength 5. So 8 attacks hitting on 2s. Let me do this real quick. I'm sure I did this. 8 times 8.33, winning on 3s. So times 0.66. The sisters will save on 5 because it's -2. So 0.66. So yeah, the Eviscer Assassin only does 2.9 wounds with his power sword against the sisters if he makes a charge. So like, he gets an extra couple of attacks there because he killed 2 models. So like, even if you roll hot, he's going to struggle to kill 5 Battle Sisters. I mean, 5 Battle Sisters are cheaper than an Eviscer Assassin, right? And then he's going to be left out in the open and just killed. Oh, I don't. It's hard, man. We just don't have units that will trade efficiently against sisters. The thing that I was trying to do in the matchups that I had against sisters, I was trying to use my assault intercessors to try and get them out in front and try and at least make a trade with assault intercessors, because they're 95 points and they're cheap. I think my experience, the best thing that we have for killing sisters, because I have beaten the sisters list, right? It's not like I've never beaten Andrew in the sisters of battle. I've beaten him a bunch of times, and the thing that has helped me the most for beating Andrew's sisters is Volkite Contemptors, honestly, because sisters have like no protection against mortal wounds, right? So if I can hit them like 40 inches away and they can't shoot back, and every Contemptor can just dish out like 3 or 4 mortals, and then through weight of dice they're going to fail some saves, even though the Volkites are no AP. It's the mortals that really help, because like, in the game, I actually had like a Death Company jump into a squad of Sacrosancts at this tournament, and like the Death Company did nothing against the Sacrosancts. Like, I guess he either passed enough saves. He must have passed like a bunch of saves. I don't remember, but it was a 5-man Death Company with power swords and chain swords, and I used the Infernal Pistols to kill the Rhino the Sacrosancts came out of. But yeah, they just did nothing to them. And I think that I've had problems with sisters and Sacrosancts before, in that like, you know, they just have the 4-ups invulnerables, and then they have the 2-up saves, so you kind of have to hit them with AP, and even when you hit them with AP, sometimes it just bounces off. And the thing that I've had the most success in Sacrosankt's cover, I guess, are 1-up saves, right? And Sisters players love putting them in cover, right? Because why would you not want to put shield infantry with big shields and cover? And obviously, like, some of the models can sit out on the objective, and some of the models can be in cover, so you can make those sweet cover save 2-ups. I know the Sisters can get mortal wound protection, but it doesn't seem to be something that they go heavily in on, right? I mean, yeah, maybe they can have a hospitaler around there or something as well, I suppose, but like, mortals seems like the best way that I've had. The most success I've had dealing with Sisters has been through mortals, I feel like. You know, 2 Volkite Contemptors. The way, I think the thing to think about, like, is if a Volkite Contemptor gets left alone the whole game, it's 10 mortal wounds on average, right? Because you shoot 16 shots per turn, which equates to 12 hits, which equates to 2 6s. So on average, if you can have a Volkite Contemptor just sit 45 inches away or outrange the enemy, and remember, Volkite Contemptors do also not bracket, so even on 1 wound, they're still shooting at full strength, or they're still shooting at full efficiency. So if your Volkite Contemptor survives the whole game, it's just 10 mortal wounds at 45 inch range. And against Sisters of Battle, I found that's very, very good. I mean, it's good against other armies as well. I mean, it kind of wants me to go back to running some Volkite Contemptors, honestly. Because, like, I've been searching for months for, like, efficient, good firepower for Marines. And it sucks that Volkite Contemptors are 1 CP, but we don't have good, efficient firepower. I mean, I suppose there's a reason that everybody was running those, right? Because they were good, efficient firepower. ATVs and Meltas are popular in my local meta. I mean, the ATVs and attack bikes and eradicators, and I guess eliminators to a certain extent, they are all popular things, and they are not bad. But like, there isn't a standout there that's like, oh, you must run these every game. Like, there isn't one that just jumps up above the rest as like, this is 100% the best choice and you should be running it, right? Yeah, I mean, I did force the opponent to roll dice, and in my it's the same as when your Sangre Guard need to roll 2-ups to save, right? Like, sometimes you'll need to do 15 2-ups, you'll pass every single one of them. Sometimes I guess you can roll 5 1s, but I guess my point is, like, if you can do mortals, then you can just remove the swinginess to a certain extent, right? Where it's just like, oh, you've got Sacrosanct and cover, so you were going to be saving on 2s. Oh well, it doesn't matter. I rolled 4 6s, so you've taken 4 mortal wounds, and now you have to take a leadership test for that one guy, you know? Plasma Inceptors would be solid against Sisters. Yeah, I mean, I don't run Inceptors, though, I guess. I stopped running them when they put them to 60 points per model. I still think they're expensive at 60 points per model. I'd be okay with them being 60 points per model if they just did a mortal wound on a 1 to themselves. The fact that they kill a model outright on a 1 is it's too much for me to handle. I mean, I'll run the Gladiator. I'm playing Votan on Wednesday this week, so I was gonna run the Gladiator Reaper into the Votan. I don't think it'll be good, but I mean, I'll run it to see what happens, right? The thing about Inceptors though, dude, is if let's say you did take Inceptors against Sisters and they're really, really effective, they're going to get countercharged 100% because they only have like 18 inches on their plasmas, right? So you're bringing down 180, arguably you might even want more than that. So you're bringing down like 240 or 300 points of a unit. You're going to mop up one Sisters unit that's going to be like... you're going to mop up one Sisters unit that's like 150 to 200 points. And then they're just going to countercharge you next turn and mop up your entire unit. So even if we agree that Inceptors are going to be useful, they're not going to give you a positive trade, and I think that's the problem with that Sisters Bloody Rose list, is like every trade you make as a Marine player is going to be a negative trade. So you're just sort of stuck where it's like, oh, I just make all these negative trades, so how do I win the game? And that's the... I mean, the counter that worked for me, because I did beat the Sisters list, and when I beat it, the counter that worked was I just took the Strayus. So, I mean, there's a counter. I mean, I took the Strayus, I beat that Sisters list, and then I took the Strayus to GT afterwards, because I was like, well, I'm struggling to find things, I'm struggling to find efficient firepower for Marines. I've been struggling to find efficient firepower for Marines all edition, I guess. And I do think Blood Angels lists are more, I think they're better when they have efficient firepower in them as opposed to just all jump units. Harlequin did so much damage to the Strayus, and like I want to say they did like 20 wounds to in one turn or something, and they started on like completely the other side of the board. I couldn't believe actually how much damage Harlequins can do against armor. But I don't have all that much experience against Harleys, but yeah, they're absolutely deadly into armor. My Strayus got absolutely toasted in that game. I honestly couldn't believe how easy they killed it. Like if you sat like a 28 wound toughness 8 tank at the opposite side of the board from Blood Angels and you screen it, that's like devastating. That's so difficult for us to deal with. Good luck at your tournament tomorrow, Mark. I hope you do well. You think Grav would kick the crap out of Sisters? I mean, I guess Grav's got 30 inches, so it would help. We do occasionally see lists with Grav Devastators. They've been on like a wish list of mine for a while. I just always seem to have something that's got higher priority than Grav Devastators. I guess they're expensive though, because you probably need a drop pod for them, right? I suppose you could put them in the Terrax, but then it would limit your offensive deployment of the Terrax. Drop pods should be free for Primaris. I mean, that would help them as well, wouldn't it? I hope, like, when they get back to doing more Primaris models, I hope that there's like a lot of thought and effort and time gone into, because we've had this sort of like we had the first sort of release for Primaris, and then we had Indomitus, but since then everything feels like it's been eclipsed a bit, doesn't it? Henrik says, I like my 5-man Eradicators. Yeah, I mean, I've never actually run Eradicators in 5-man, but I think that's more... I think if you want to run Eradicators, I think you need to go 5-man. I don't think 3 models... I think if I was going to run Eradicators again, because I've run them a bunch of times, I run them to events. I actually ran them in the event where I came third. I think I would run them. I think 3 is just because sometimes you need to advance them, and if you advance them, then 3 only gets 3 shots, and it's kind of shitty. So I think Eradicators for me, I would run them in 5s. So if I'm going to run them again, it's going to be a 5. But yeah, I'll be demoing my new list in like I guess probably against the Votan this week actually, and it's a bit different from the stuff that I've run before. It's gonna go more into the Blood Angel. I mean, I'm gonna go after Fury of the Lost, I guess. I feel like we kind of have to go after Fury of the Lost right now. I just don't know if our other secondaries are competitive enough. Siegler's Crimson Fist is running 6 Eradicators and 2 times 3 Eliminators. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess, like I said, I think Eradicators probably work best in at least 5, so 6 could be cool. As long as they don't get bogged down in combat. I don't think there's a strat that lets you fall back and shoot the Eradicators, so that could be problematic. I mean, that's possibly one of the reasons that people prefer attack bikes, because at least for attack bikes there's a strat where you can fall back and shoot. Assault Hellblasters might be better than Grav Devastators. No -1 to hit, strength 7 means wounding on 2s. Where's the range on Hellblasters? The assaults are going to be good. I mean, that's the problem, Highland Phoenix. 165 points for 5 assault Hellblasters. Yeah, they'll wipe out maybe a squad of Sisters, but then they'll get mopped up by a 100-point squad of Zephyrim or something, and it's like that whole game is just negative trades. Like, I don't know how you win a game if every single trade you have to make is negative, because you can't split the fire from 5 assault Hellblasters, right? It's only like 15 shots, right? So a second you split that fire, you're not killing a unit of Sisters. Or you're gonna leave one model with 1 wound and you're gonna regret it. They're gonna use the hospitalizer to bring back D3 of them or something, you know? So I just don't see where the trades can be made, right? So it's hard enough to trade anyway, and then you always have to just remember that you're gonna negatively trade constantly into the Repentia. Like the Repentia, you know, we talk about, hey, there's a bunch of negative trades. We haven't even touched on the fact that all the Repentia are just going to be hugely negative trades as well for Blood Angels. I think the only way we beat Bloody Rose is some sort of like, I was going to say, is it a miracle? I don't know. Like the player just needs to be bad, or it needs to be the perfect map, or the dice are with you. Like Bloody Rose in general, I think, are just really, really efficient marine killers, and I don't think I'm missing anything. I just don't think it's really a winnable list for us to play against. You know, we are allowed to have bad matchups, right? We are allowed to have a matchup in the meta where it's just like, yeah, well, you don't win this game, right? Same as like Ultramarines, for example. Like, if you play Ultramarines on a decent table with decent terrain, like, I feel like Ultramarines should never beat Blood Angels. Like, I mean, this is before, I was gonna say, this is before their codex or before anything, you know, like, even if Ultramarines get a new codex and their power spikes, like, let's say 10% more, if they can never get good line of sight, if we can always make charges from obscuring positions, I'm not worried about Ultramarines, ever, I feel like. Good night, Carter. Thanks for hanging out tonight. I take 3 times Assault Marines, they help us trade into Sisters. I mean, I guess, sure. It's probably a good idea, actually. I mean, I try and trade with like really cheap, like 105 point death companies. so I can understand the Assault Marine logic. I was trying to trade in a couple of games with my Assault Intercessors, the same sort of idea, like the cheapest unit that I had on the field. Like, they can mop up a unit of Sisters with a little bit of luck and a little bit of buffs. So yeah, there is plays to be made, I guess, but still, there's just, throughout the course of the game, there's going to be a lot of negative trades. You know, Sangregard are all pretty much always going to trade down. Our characters are possibly going to trade down. Alright, I am getting fuzzy-eyed, which means it's about time for my bed. Be back tomorrow though, doing the Army List show as always on Sunday nights. Got a bit done on these Intercessors. 3 Judiciars is the new concept. Would you run an Impulsor if you were going to run 3 Judiciars, or would you run multiple Impulsors? How would you do it, Highland? I'm trying to think when I stopped playing the Judiciar, because I played him for a little while. I think it was when they reduced the because Temper Mortis used to be 6 inches, didn't it? And then they reduced it down to 3. I don't think I really played him after they reduced it down to 3 inches. I guess at that time I maybe wasn't big on spending CP on characters, but I guess you would probably... I think the best thing you can do is have Selfless Valor on the Judiciar. I think I ran him with Selfless Valor like 1 or 2 times. But I never really did it. I never made a habit of running it, I guess. I mean, you can only heroic if you have that Warlord trait, right? No. So you couldn't do that multiple times with multiple Judiciars. I mean, Fight Last is really good. I was gonna say though, like, is Fight Last, is that the biggest problem we have, right? Like, I'd probably argue no, but you know, like, if you have the Whirlwind and you have that like Fight Last, then you can use it kind of anywhere on the board, and it's kind of always guaranteed, because you usually always make at least one of the required hits with Suppression Fire. I think it was only one time out of, like, I don't know, 100 times I've used Suppression Fire. There's only one time that I didn't make a single hit roll. So, like, to me it feels like the Fight Last is very useful, sure, but like, we still can lose a lot of models from shooting, we can use a lot of models in the psychic phase. Like, it's not necessarily gonna change a game, is it? Anyone use Starengard Veterans? I like the idea of Starengard Veterans in a drop pod, but I don't use it myself. I don't really use anything in a drop pod at the moment. Alright, I got a bit of work done on these guys. Lots still to do, I guess. Maybe this is a squad I should just try and really finish off before the Christmas holidays, so I can finish my Death Guard and Sangre Guard and Christmas holidays.
A fight on death is a massive counter to us, facing Turins of Bile before you complain too much about Sisters.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've never fought the creations of Bile. If you put Veil of Time on a unit and you get Fight Lasted, do those two things counter each other out? So let's say you charged and you had Fight and you had Veil of Time on the unit and they have Fight Last. Are you still counted as charging?
Because I thought the point was like you could never stack 2 fight firsts. Oh me. Oh, I'm tired. Oh, I was gonna go to bed at 11:30. Okay. Time flies when you're having fun, guys. Fight last plus fight first equals fight normal. So then what happens if you charge? You still fight first? Horde armies are the best against sisters. Yeah, I mean, sisters have a lot of 2 damage at -4. So having an invulnerable save army-wide, or having just like 1 damage, or -1 damage, I guess. Custodes might be good against sisters, I actually don't know. Maybe they're not. Or maybe they would be. Are Custodes good against sisters? The defender is first, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Yeah, so maybe the Judiciar, maybe that's a play that needs to come back. I was half thinking of running an Impulsor again. And I guess I've kind of got 2 Impulsors now, because I can just take the turret off the Gladiator tank, and then I've got 2 Impulsors. But I don't know if... Impulsors get no play. Like, they're just so expensive, right? Hey John, thank you so much for subscribing. I think if you run the Judiciar, you need to run probably like Centurions or Blade Guard Veterans or something that's going to keep up, something that's slower, right? Yeah, I mean that's the problem. I mean you can put him in 5 Blade Guard Veterans in an Impulsor, but we just don't see it anymore. We really don't see it, do we? Okay, so Custodes have a terrible win rate against sisters. Okay, interesting. I would have thought that their invulnerable saves would have helped them. But I actually don't really know what a competitive Custodes lists look like. Like, I've played the Custodes list where it was like a couple of Telemons, and like 3 of the Contemptors of both types. And I found that pretty difficult to deal with, but I guess maybe Sisters of Weight of Fire against them. Alright, I'm going to see you guys tomorrow night for the Army List show, 9:30. Thank you for watching tonight. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you to Highland Phoenix for his gifted sub, Superstar. No, I really do appreciate it, guys. And hit the like button before you leave, if you wouldn't mind. I'd appreciate it. And I will catch you tomorrow night, guys. Peace.
Mm-hmm.